Hey guys, tonight's lesson is over solving systems of equations by graphing. So we now know what a system of equations is, and we're going to learn our first of three methods for solving a system of equations, and that is graphing. So a system is when we have, remember, our two equations that have the same two variables that we are solving for. The solution to a system of equations that we're going to be solving, that we're going to be finding, is an ordered pair. So it's going to be an x value and a y value. Now, it doesn't always have to be those two letters. We could use r and s or m and n, but it's an ordered pair that's going to satisfy each of the two equations, or later on in life, multiple equations in the system. So here's my system of equations, okay, and I've graphed it over here to the right. The solution to this system is going to be the point where the two lines intersect each other. It's an ordered pair, so that ordered pair, the point of intersection is 2, -1. That is the solution to this system. Now we're going to do two together. So here I have my system of equations. You need to write those two things down, and I'm going to graph them and find where the two lines intersect each other. Okay, now we know from our last unit of linear equations that I can't graph this until I get it in slope-intercept form. So the first thing I'm going to do is solve for y. I need to get y alone. We should all be experts at doing this. So when I solve it, I get y equals, we know that this is a 1 in front of our x, so 1/3 x plus 3. That's my first equation that I would graph. Now my second equation that I'm going to get into slope-intercept form is this one. So I'm going to get y by itself, always writing the x term first. Now remember that this is a 1 in front, so I'm dividing each part by -1. So I get y equals positive 4x minus 8. So now that both of my equations are in slope-intercept form, I am going to graph them. Now I'm going to show you how to do this in the graphing calculator. So when I pull up my graphing calculator, I'm going to go to y equals up here at the top, and I'm going to type in my first equation, which is 1/3 x plus 3. Now remember, since it's a fraction, I'm going to put it in parentheses. So I have my 1 divided by 3, close my parentheses, and then my x, which is up here by the green alpha. You need to be taking notes on where these buttons are. And then I'm going to have plus 3. Now that's my first equation. Okay? Now, because I have a second equation, I'm going to go down to y2, so arrow down. And for y2, I'm going to type in that second one, which is y equals 4x minus 8. So let's type that. Y equals 4x, and then it was minus 8. So I've got my two equations in there. If I press graph, I'll be able to see both of them graphed out. Now remember, what we're wanting is to find out where this point of intersection is. So in order to do that, I'm going to go to second and then this trace button, because above that is the abbreviation for calculate. So second trace, and I'm wanting to calculate, which one do you think? The intersection, number 5. So I'm going to scroll down or type number 5, press enter. Now it's going to ask me for a couple things. The first thing it wants to identify is which of the lines I'm finding the intersections of, because you could have tons of lines on your screen, so you need to tell the calculator exactly which ones you're wanting to find the intersection of. So see my blinking turtle right here? It's on this first line. So that's one of the lines I want, so I'm going to press enter. Now, to see my blinking turtle, which is way down here, I'm going to move it using my arrow so you can see it better. Now it's on the second line. I press enter, and now it's telling me to guess. What it means by guess is move the turtle to where the intersection is to give the calculator a good idea of exactly which intersection you're looking for. Press enter, and now you can see the ordered pair is given to you, and as I write that, parenthesis 3, 4. Now I want to show you one other place you could also get this information. If I pull up a table, so table's here in blue, so I'm going to press second graph to get my table. You should notice that if I'm at 2, my y value for the first equation is 3.667. My y value for the second is 0. So those aren't the same values, so that's not my point of intersection. But if I scroll down to 3, x equals 3, notice for my first equation, y equals 4. Notice for my second equation, y also equals 4. So that's what it means to be a solution to a system of equations. The x value of 3 makes the y equal 4 in both equations. So I can tell, since these y values are the same, that this is the solution to my system. So not only did I see that solution represented in the graph by the intersection, but also in the table, 3, 4. Okay? Now, let's go ahead and try one more. I want you to press pause. I want you to get both of these equations into slope-intercept form on your own, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so hopefully you ended up with the exact same two equations that I did. Now I have this graph here because you could graph these by hand, starting with your y-intercept of 7 and then rising 3, running 1, making sure you go in the negative direction. So down 3 and then right 1, or up 3 and left 1. You could also graph the green one on this same grid and then find the intersection. But again, I'm going to show you how to do that on the calculator. So when I go to my calculator, I'm going to go to my y equals. I'm going to clear out what's in there from my last problem, and I'm going to type these in. So remember the negative down here below the 3, negative 3x plus 7. Then I'm going to go down to y2, and I'm going to type in 2x minus 8, and I'm going to graph those. I'm going to see my two lines graphed, one with a negative slope, one with a positive slope, and I'm going to find this point of intersection right here. So how do I do that? Second, trace or calculate. We're wanting to calculate the intersection. So see if I just press 5. Now remember, I'm selecting the two curves, the two lines. There's my first one. Press enter. I'm going to move my turtle, make sure I'm on my second line, which I am. Press enter. And now I'm going to move it right on top of my intersection to tell the calculator exactly where I'm wanting. And I'm going to see this ordered pair, 3, negative 2. Now, not all the time are we going to get integers. Many times we're going to get fractions. The calculator would give it to you as a decimal, so then we're going to have the calculator turn it into a fraction for us. So once you have your intersection, which remember we could also find from the table, if I go to 3, notice how I'm at negative 2 and negative 2. So that confirms that that is my answer. Now, if I quit out of this, notice what happens if I press this X button here and press enter. It's going to give me 3. Notice if I press the Y, which the Y is, let's see, right here above the 1. It's that green letter. I could press second 1, press enter, and it gave me the X value and the Y value that was a solution to that system of equations. Pretty awesome. Now, if it gave you 0.33333, okay, we don't want to submit our answer as a decimal. We would want it to be a fraction. So remember how we turn a decimal into a fraction. We press math. The first option is fraction, so I press enter, enter again, and let me try this just so I can show it to you. I'm sorry that didn't work. I have 0.333. I'm going to press math, fraction, enter, enter again, and it would turn your decimal into a fraction. So that's a handy trick to know because we don't ever want to give our answer as a decimal. We want it to be precise using a fraction. So make sure you have all those steps written down in your journal so that you're ready to work lots of problems in class tomorrow. Good night.